And I used to have this incredible anger in me. You know, I was visiting one of my friends from the past today, and he was reminding me of some of the anger I used to have. And I don't even know who that person is anymore, or who that person was. But while I was there, I went to confession. And it hadn't been that long since my last confession. And during this confession, this priest said to me, "You're angry at God." And I said, no, I'm not angry at God, I love God. He says, no, you're angry at God. I said, no, I love God. He says, you're angry at God. I thought, I'm getting angry at you. But then I found myself saying, yeah, I am angry at God. Where was this loving God when I was being abused as a kid? Where was this loving God when I was having my heart ripped out? And he said, he was you. He was being crucified because you was being crucified. He was being scourged because you was being scourged. He was being rejected because you was being rejected. He never left you. He was in every part of your suffering. Do you know, as he said those words, what came to my mind was the poem Footprints. You know, when a man looks back over his life, and in the worst times of his life, there's only one set of footprints. And when he gets to heaven, he says to Jesus, you told me you'd never leave me, but at the worst times in my life you left me. Just the other year we was in Northern Ireland in Derry, and we've been doing this for over 3 weeks, and I was really tired and quite worn out. And I turned to God and I said, does what we do make a difference? Well, I didn't get an answer straight away. But later on that night, a lady asked to see me in the sacristy. And I went in the sacristy and she said to me, was you in schools today in Claudie? I said I was. She said 2 weeks ago my 15-year-old little girl tried to kill herself. She cut her wrists. She said she went back to school today and she wore a jumper to hide all the stitches. She said you went into that school and you gave your talk and you told her that she was loved and cherished by God. She said my little girl came home and told me word for word what you had said. It took her 45 minutes. And then she said, Mum, I want to live again. I want to go back to Mass like we used to. I want to pray like we used to. I want to live again. This mother was crying her eyes out. She said, you don't know what you're doing in those schools, but never stop. I went back in the church and I was crying. And I asked Jesus to forgive me because of my lack of faith in him. I don't tell you that story that you might think we're good. We're just broken people struggling as you are. But I tell you that story that you might pray for us. Because all this week we're in schools around this area. And maybe in one of those schools is a girl or a boy like that young girl who doesn't know they're loved and cherished. Maybe there's someone in this church tonight who really doesn't know they're loved or cherished. Well, through your prayers, they know the wonder of God's love in them. So maybe you'll join me in saying a prayer which is on page 5 of our parish mission books. We're going to be using this parish mission book throughout the week, so please feel free to take it home with you. There's some lovely reflections and bring it into each of the services. So it's page 5, and if we can say this prayer together.